Today, we're talking about the Boston Celtics. As a unit, as a team, we've predicted them as the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference, and this means that they're going to make the playoffs. Ironically, in our individual predictions, we both had them 9th, but how everything worked out with averages, they actually ended up getting a boost, even though we both picked them one spot lower. The additions for this team in the offseason were David Lee, Amir Johnson, Perry Jones, and RJ Hunter. And they lost a guy who really didn't play much in Gerald Wallace. This is a team that really performed well. Many would say outperformed their talent base. And in this model, might be doing it again. Justin, when you look at a team like this and their potential best players being the likes of David Lee, Isaiah Thomas, what's the secret sauce here that makes these guys tick and win games?
Well, Brad Stevens is probably their best player in a way. He's the one that's getting the most out of this roster. I thought Boston overachieved last year and was also able to take advantage of a down year in the East. A lot of transition, a lot of injuries. They were able to just kind of sneak in at the end of the season. I personally don't think they're going to do it again, although it wouldn't stun me if they did benefit from similar circumstances. It's like you said, when you're looking at this roster, Isaiah Thomas is probably their best player. David Lee is still a good player. He just didn't fit into Golden State's system and might end up being one of the best players on Boston, which is kind of funny to say when he didn't get any playing time in Golden State. But when you look at the roster, I just don't like how the pieces fit together. They counted on Evan Turner to play a big role last year, which is crazy to me. While I like the off seasons of other teams we've talked about before, I'm not a big fan of what Danny Ainge did this summer, and I think they made a lot of lateral moves.
I agree there. Now, I know we spoke about this off camera, but there's a lot of people out there who would think that Marcus Smart's going to make a nice run this year and take that next step. And I know you don't always agree. Where do you see Marcus Smart as a player and a future guard in the NBA?
Well, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of what Marcus Smart has done yet in the NBA, but I can definitely see him making a leap. I think he has all the tools to be a very good player in the league. He's got great size, both in length and in strength. The thing that makes me nervous when we're talking about Boston as a team, Isaiah Thomas, who we've acknowledged as one of their best players, was coming in off the bench as a sixth man, basically because Marcus Smart didn't deserve the minutes yet. If Marcus Smart takes a jump, what happens to Isaiah Thomas? Because he's kind of burned bridges in the last two places he's been, in Sacramento and Phoenix, because he wasn't getting the playing time he wanted or couldn't play within the team structure in Sacramento. If Marcus Smart takes a leap, and they've invested big money in Avery Bradley, we're going to have a repeat of the Phoenix situation with three guards that can play some point, fighting for minutes, all feeling like they're not getting the minutes they deserve, and probably not, but it's just a bit of a logjam there.
Absolutely. So just to wrap up, is it possible that while we've gone over some other teams that didn't make the playoffs in our worst first mock draft, that this team benefits from Brad Stevens' ability to make pieces that maybe wouldn't necessarily fit glue, whereas with the other teams that just are missing the break there, we're waiting on things to happen, like with the Magic and such. Things could become like a beautiful orchestra there, but It's more predictable in Boston, and the floor is much higher than those other teams, I suppose we'll say, because we've seen them do it with this type of team, and they've added some nice talent. So the expectation is, if those other teams don't make the leap, these guys should play par for the course.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they do have a higher floor than a lot of those teams. They have something that's established that they can build off of. But they just don't have the high-end talent to me that screams, yes, this is a playoff team. This team's going to be able to get through an 82-game season. I think part of what benefited them was they changed their style so much halfway through the year that teams weren't able to game plan for it the same way they would do another team. Now we've seen them for half a season. They've had an off season. We know what to expect from Boston, and I think teams will be a little more prepared for them. And while their floor is higher, I still feel like they need that star power to kind of break through whenever a team's figured out whatever Boston's system is.
Absolutely. Well, the new home of one of my favorite players, Perry Jones, will give me a reason to watch these young players grow. And as always, please join us for more season previews, worst to first, here on hoopslounge.com with myself, Phil Boileau, and co-host Justin Rowan.